So, Chief, we'll turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Happy 2025. Hopefully everyone had amazing holidays. Sorry for the treacherous roads getting in. Commissioner Tawil is just running out to make sure they were clear for us to leave. So, communications. We haven't met since November, so I have both the information from what would have been our December meeting and our current meeting. We did cancel the December meeting, so there was no meeting there. Communications since the last time we met, most of these are press releases that we put out. We put out a press release on January 1st in regards to a graffiti arrest. I shared that with the commission. That was a heinous act throughout the community. We're fortunate that our staff worked diligently to bring that to conclusion. I think we're up to about 30-some incidents of both private and public buildings here, just in the city, not counting what's around us as well. So good job on the officers and detectives that worked on that case. Press release from January 9th, that was the pursuit in which Officer Langford's feet were run over. And then that was followed by a press release the following day, just some of my feelings in regards to that gentleman being let out without bail. Additional communications, I received a letter from the family of retired Lieutenant Lawrence Corky. Letter thanking Middletown Police for the support during retired Lieutenant, who was also a Bureau Commander of Operations, Lawrence Corky's funeral services. Lieutenant Corky passed away on December 5th, 2024. He was 77 years old, and he served the City of Middletown Police Department for 32 years. He retired on April 6, 2002. He's also the grandfather of our current animal control officer. So we provided honor guard and attended his services and funeral to honor his service. Moving forward, November Police Commission minutes, I did forward them to the Commission for review. Would you like to discuss them at all? Any errors, omissions, issues?
Nope.
No? Could I have a motion to accept them as written then?
Motion.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mills, second by Commissioner Rodriguez. All in favor?
Aye.
Appreciate it. So I'll just jump into our statistics from November. So for the month of November, the department handled 2,338 calls for service, which was a 13% decrease over the previous month, in which we had 2,673 calls for service. Month of November, Part 1 crimes, we investigated 45. Part 1 crimes, out of those, 9 fell into the violent category, 36 into the property category. And once again, in that property category, a majority are larceny related, 32 of which were larceny related. That 45 was in comparison to 44 in the month of October. Part 2 crimes for the month of November, the department investigated 182 in comparison to 163 in the previous month. Arrests for the month of November, the department made 174 arrests in comparison to 207 in the month of October. Traffic tickets that were issued in the month of November, 252 in comparison to 287 in October. Parking tickets, 276 issued in November in comparison to 331 in the month of October. Out of the 174 arrests, 6 of those incidents resulted in some type of use of force to effect that arrest, which equates to 3.4% of the total arrests. During the month of November, the department also investigated 2 incidents pertaining to shots being fired. One was on November 19th. 6:59 a.m. in the area of Liberty Street and Wickham Avenue. Happy to say that by the end of that afternoon, we did have that suspect in custody. We made an arrest of Dylan Salanda, 18 years old, from Maryland Avenue. No one was hurt, no one was struck, which we were very fortunate with that. Very fortunate that we were able to quickly apprehend that young man, and we actually recovered a firearm with that as well, an illegally possessed firearm. Then on November 28th, which was Thanksgiving, 9:41 p.m., we responded to 63 South Street for a report of shots fired into a residence. Through our investigation, it was found to be a domestic-related incident. It was the family of the defendant's girlfriend. There's some type of dispute that led him to come back and discharge a firearm. We made an arrest in that the next day. We were able to track him down. We arrested an Aaron Dunn, 22 years of age, resided on Bunnell Street, 30 Bunnell Street. Something unique in that case that was captured, our suspect and holding the firearm was captured on someone's parked Tesla in the parking lot, is what led us to that gentleman. So that was a great break for us. Teslas have all types of cameras in them to operate while they're off and nobody's in them. It worked out perfect. The owner was cooperative. It was great. So move into December statistics, and this will also lead into our year-to-date, our year-end statistics. So for the month of December, the department handled 2,313 calls in comparison to 2,328 in November. Part 1 crimes for the month of December, the department investigated 37 Part 1 crimes, 5 of which in the violent category, 32 in the property category, 27 of which were larceny related. That 37 was in comparison to 45 in November. Part 2 crimes for the month, department investigated 137 crimes that would be classified as Part 2 crimes in comparison to 182 in November. The department made 182 arrests in the month of December in comparison to 174 in November. Issued 183 parking tickets in December in comparison to 252 in November. Issued 749 parking tickets. I'm sorry, it was 183 traffic tickets in comparison to 252. 749 parking tickets for the month of December in comparison to 276. That increase, significant increase, was mainly due to the weather, implementing the code in regards to parking on the street during winter weather situations. And then we had 4 uses of force in the month of December. So out of 182 arrests, 4 of those incidents had some type of use of force associated with it, which equates to 2.2% of total arrests. In the month of December, the department investigated 3 shots fired incidents. One was at 418 North Street on December 12th at 2:31 in the morning. It ended up being a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The person that resides there legally possessed a rifle, and somehow it discharged and went through his leg. Typically, they don't discharge by themselves, so we assume that he was playing with it in his room and shot himself in the leg. We were able to recover the weapon. Nobody else was injured. He's fine. December 16th, 42 Roosevelt Avenue. I did send this out to the commission as well. 11:58 a.m. This was a Monday. This was a snow day. The school was closed. And at 11:58, we responded to the area of Roosevelt Avenue for a report of shots fired. Quickly, the officers did an outstanding job in this situation. They responded. We had fresh snow on the ground, which made it easy. Officers were tracking footprints through the snow, through the woods. People were, pointing and saying, we saw this, we saw that. Why they were doing such, a car pulled up to the lieutenant and said, "Are you looking for 3 individuals?" He says, "We may be. Why?" He goes, "I just dropped them off. I'm the Uber driver." Found out where he dropped them off. He told us. It was transmitted over the radio. As soon as it went over the radio, I think everybody in the department that was working related it to a problem house that we have on Wickham Avenue, and immediately went to that house. Why I say a problem house? It's a house that we deal with the kids in that house on a regular basis. We've dealt with them, many, many incidents that I've shared with you. Officers go there, they go to the back of the house, the front of the house. While the officers are in the back of the house, the door opens, 3 kids come out on the porch, they call out to them, kids look at them, there's a fence between them, they take off running. Fortunately, on the front of the house was also police officers. They take them into custody, all 3 of them, recover 2 illegally possessed handguns, 3 juveniles, 14, 15, 16 years old. The good part, we took them into custody, we took 2 handguns off the street, no one was injured. Ends up being that a vehicle is driving down the street. These kids are horsing around in the street. The driver of the vehicle says something to them. They engage in a back and forth, pull out handguns and shoot at the driver. He proceeds to drive down into another street, calls us and says, "Hey, this is what just happened." So everything came together. We had cooperation, worked out well. I was just informed earlier this week that one of these children, juveniles, has actually been placed into a juvenile facility for up to a year. So success story there. As I told my officers, the fact that we took 2 guns off the street was huge that day. We were able to do a search warrant on her home to look for additional guns, but I think that definitely made a difference that day. And it was to the great work of the police officers thinking and moving very quickly. The third incident was on December 30th, came into us at 5:59 PM in the area of 70 Sprague Avenue. Officers get out, investigate, come to find out, town of Wallkill was also dealing with an incident at the same time, ends up being fireworks in the town of Wallkill. So that's all we had there. Would the commission like to discuss any of those statistics before I get into the year stuff? Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question about the 3 young people. Were
Yes.
they siblings?
One was the resident of the house on Wickham Avenue. The other 2 were brothers. I believe they're half brothers, step brothers, something like that. But yes, they were both, 2 were brothers, 1 was not. 2 did not reside at the house on Wickham Avenue. They were on a snow day hanging out with their buddies and not doing what they're supposed to do. Mom was a little surprised, that mom. The other mom, not so much. The serial numbers were not on those weapons.
Yeah.
Ghost guns?
Not ghost guns. It seems like most of the legal guns we're finding are coming from the south, for the most part. But I can't say specific on those guns. Any other questions in regards to statistics?
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm seeing that the domestic violence increased a little bit. Some of these receipts?
That could be, yes. I don't have that answer to answer you completely with that. I will tell you, like, domestics, we used to handle about 100 a month we would average, so it's down into the 70s and 80s. One of the things that we have been fortunate is we have for many years now, we have a member of Fearless that is co-located in our building. So what that member of Fearless does is reviews all of the domestic violence incidents that we respond to and then does follow-up with them. And it's not a one and done. It's that consistent trying to be there to support them. The other thing is we participate in a program where at the scene, the officers have a secure telephone number that they call for the victim and let the victim answer some questions, which kind of preempts what that Fearless peer advocate will start working on. So we're hitting it at multiple levels to try to minimize that. But we do get some repeat offenders. Again, I don't have that specific number, so I'm sorry about that. One other thing on domestic violence, we have not received the official notification yet, but we have been unofficially notified that we are going to be one of about 5 jurisdictions in the Hudson Valley that is going to receive a pretty significant amount of grant funding to start another domestic violence like in-house program. So we don't know the total parameters of it, but it could be upwards of $200 and some thousand per year to expand the domestic violence initiatives. Once I get that and know exactly what it's going to be, I'll be absolutely willing to share and, explain. Looking at our 2024 year-end numbers, I think overall we did a really good job. Not even numbers-wise, I feel just like my contacts in the community, speaking with all of you, members of the council, I feel like the feeling in the community is good. I don't feel like we have that image of, hey, people are scared, we're not willing to go outside, we're not willing to go downtown. I think that feeling, that image is very, very positive, and I appreciate all of the support you give us to allow our members to do the programs that we do, and I think doing some alternative things that we've done have been very successful. Most of them have been highlighted in the year-end report that I've shared I issued for the mayor, but I shared with the commission as well, one of which being the Flex Squad. I think has been very instrumental. We have the officers that come in at 12 o'clock every day, they work till 8. They fill in the gaps of the busiest time of our day, and that's been huge success so far of just having more people on the streets to help handle the calls, address some stuff. And fortunately, a lot of our incidents have happened during those times, so we have extra resources and have been successful in trying to address things.
Chief, don't underestimate the community outreach programs too.
Community outreach has been
The-
outstanding.
Yes, whether it's the parks programs, the stuff at the recreation center, there's been tremendous feedback from parents and from families regarding all that. And I think it ultimately addresses, is reflected in our results, in our statistics, but we do still have a juvenile
We do.
crime issue, especially with a certain block of kids that these resources are gonna be very helpful.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Those programs, the school programs, Stevenson, having him as a service coordinator, spend time with him today. We did an outreach program today, just outstanding. The stories that he's sharing, and it's awesome because he came up in the service providing world, and he's seeing the challenges that we as police officers deal with that he never realized. He's seeing it from a different lens, and he's getting frustrated as someone that's come up through the service world as well, like the challenges that we are facing. But again, we can't do any of that without your support, the support of the council, the funding. So we appreciate that. So 2024, we ended the year with 32,485 calls for service that we responded to. That doesn't count the numerous thousands of telephone calls that come into our dispatch center that they answer that never even make it to our records management system. So that is a 6.61% decrease from the previous year, where we handled 34,783 calls. Case reports was basically, that's anything that turns into some type of a crime, like a Part 1 or Part 2 crime. We handled 4,519 in 2024. In 2023, we had 4,858, so we saw a 6.98% decrease. Part 1 crimes, this is our serious crimes. The last couple of years, we've seen an increase in our Part 1 crimes and our Part 2 crimes, our overall crime. So I'm happy to say in 2024, we handled 610 Part 1 crimes in comparison to 793 in 2023, which equates to a 23.08% decrease. Part 2 crimes, 2024, we handled 2,161 in comparison to 2,318 in 2023, is a 6.77% decrease. So an overall crime, when we combine Part 1 and Part 2, we saw a 10.93% decrease overall from 23 to 24. Arrests for 24, a decrease there also. We made 2,702 arrests, which was a 9.39% decrease over the previous year of 2,982. Traffic tickets for 2024, we issued 4,756 in comparison to 5,763. The previous year, 17.47% decrease. Parking tickets, 5,276 in 2024 in comparison to 5,715, which is 7.68% decrease. Uses of force, 2024, the department had 84 incidents of use of force in comparison to 95 in 2023, equates to 11.5% decrease. And when you look at the total uses of force in 2024 in comparison to arrests, it equates to 3.1%. 3.11%, and then in 2023, same equation, 3.58%. So yes, some of our arrests went down, our traffic summons went down, our parking summons went down, but overall crime came down as well, which I think is very important.
Now, Chief, will these be the numbers that will be reflected in the DCJS reports, or
So
they
DCJS will
adjusted?
come out, we always monitor it.
Right.
We always find that we're off one or two, and we normally find why that is. It could be that this happens a lot as the year rolls over. We may make an arrest in January or February of a case from 2024, and that'll offset them as well. Sometimes it's on our end, sometimes it's on DCJ's, and we try to monitor that and stay up to speed. So we want our numbers to be the best that they can be.
It's also important, any crime committed in Middletown goes through the Middletown Police Department, is reflected in those statistics, correct?
Yes, correct, Mayor.
The
So
difference being in the townships, state police, sheriff's department, crimes in those communities are also reported through those agencies and are not reflected in the respective local police departments' criminal records.
yes, so our crime numbers are specific to our department for the city of Middletown. We don't really get that influx of the state police or sheriffs or anybody doing crime work here.
Right.
They may make a vehicle stop or help us. but they're not generating any type of crime number that is
Right,
going to
so
impact
the
us.
statistics are ours, whereas
We
there's a
own them.
difference between, because I get that feedback sometime about other communities, where this number is lower and that number is lower. I said, well, you have to look at different agencies that are policing in those
Yes.
communities, okay.
Our numbers are based on what is reported to us, not what we arrest on, not
Right,
what we're
right.
able to investigate. If someone comes and tells us they were the subject of a fraud or an assault or whatever it is, when we generate that case, that generates a number for us.
Like me.
Any other thoughts, questions with regards to crime? So with that, I mean, I think every year, no matter if our crime's up or down, the men and women of the department do an outstanding job, and they're constantly,
Agreed.
trying to improve. So kudos to them, and I greatly appreciate it. We have an amazing team, so. Staffing, we currently have 2 vacancies, budgeted for 75 again in 2025. Currently, well, as of Monday the 20th, I'll have 73 sworn personnel. Still leaves 2 vacancies out of the 73 that I have. 1 is still on light duty. I have 2 in the police academy. Since our last meeting, Police Officer Christopher Uven has returned from his military deployment. He was away for about 18 months, 17 months. On military leave, he was actually stationed in Southern California at the border. It's actually interesting to talk with him, to hear about his experience there. Pretty interesting what he had to do in his experiences. But so he returned to us on December 23rd. Based on his extended absence, he requested that we put him back in field training, which we did for a short period of time. He is now back on his own, doing his thing, just like he never left. So we're happy to have him back. He's an asset to our department. So I mentioned on the 20th, we'll have an additional officer, Officer Jonathan Gay, starts with us on the 20th. He passes psychological evaluation, his medical, everything is all set to go. So he will be joining us Monday. He'll get sworn in on Tuesday. So we're happy to have him. We look forward to his assistance in our organization. Since our last meeting also, Police Officer Myers completed his field training on December 18th successfully. He is now assigned to patrol squad, doing well, very active, proactive. It seems like a great addition to the department as well. Also, since our last meeting, on December 20th, 2024, K-9 Micah and Police Officer Berman graduated from K-9 Narcotics School. So now we have a freshly trained, certified K-9, narcotics K-9 again, which we're very fortunate to have. And then training for the month, like over the last couple of months, I'll just read through these quick. We held our fall into winter in-service training, which was a recap on procedural justice, legal updates, use of force and de-escalation, recertification for those that are TASER certified, and overview of incident command. There's also use of force for supervisors training. There's management of rights for supervisors and training. There's emergency response to terrorism for supervisors. Post-traumatic stress disorder, stress management, employee assistance awareness for supervisors. There's the role of a supervisor at a crime scene training, defensive tactics instructor. We did dispatch training, supervisor training where some of our supervisors went out to different trainings, sent detectives to Snapchat Law Enforcement Summit. Some of our detectives and supervisors went to arson awareness for police officers. Our explosive canines were recertified. We sent some of our staff to, it was a movement training with the Orange County SOG team. And then we had all of our patrol officers go to obstetrics overview training and equipment. We've had many people give birth, many ladies give birth that our officers are responding to, so we bought actually OB kits for all the cars, and we made sure that everybody was trained in them, just to help with it. It seems like we got flooded with them the last couple of months. So moving forward, I was notified recently that we are going to receive additional funding for the anti-violence initiative. It's coming out of the New York State Department of Criminal Justice, and this funding was sponsored by Senator Skoufis for us. This is SNUG funding, which is gun spelled backwards. And the idea of the SNUG acronym is to remind people that we can reverse the impacts of guns and violence. This will be our second year with this award. We received it in 2024 as well, $150,000. In 2024, we used some of that money to buy those portable camera trailers so we could position them in areas that we were trying to reduce violence. And then what we did is we used about $65,000 of that money to fund programs in the schools, from the middle school to the high school. They're assembly type programs. We already completed one through Breaking the Cycle. It was called, where there's presenters that come in and speak directly to the kids about the impacts of violence. Some of them have lived it and have lasting impacts of it. Some of them, someone in their family may have been killed as a result of it, so they speak about how that impacts them as well. Suicide, drug use, so on and so forth. The second phase will start up in February with Matt Bennett presentations. It'll be very similar presenters about specific things that are impacting our youth and our community and youth all over. And the third phase of it will go probably a little bit later into the spring, which will be focused on like the 7th grade group. We'll identify through the school a smaller group that will be trained in conflict resolution and dispute resolution. And the goal is to educate them in the 7th grade, so it's an investment that we have them to help through 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And then next year, we'd be looking to educate another group of 7th graders to continue that cycle as long as we could keep this money coming in. And the goal will be to have them help mitigate and mediate conflicts that arise among students. And so that's our goal. We could spend this money and try to enforce violence, but we're trying to educate as well. So we're trying to hit it from some different angles here. So we're super appreciative of that funding, and the Senator Skoufis continues to support us. Community events since the last time that we met. We did host the Youth Leadership Academy graduation in this room on December 10th. Once again, great program. Sergeant Welch does an outstanding job. The officers that help and participate, and I think that program is just continuing to grow. We did get some additional grant funding for that. And we'll continue to do that and expand it and grow upon that. So our next one will probably start late February into March for the spring session. We ran the Breaking the Cycle assemblies that I spoke about. We also partnered with New Middletown. We did a holiday Santa, photos with Santa on Saturday, December 21st, which we had a pretty good turnout. We had probably about 50 or 60 people come through. And we used some of our donated gifts that we were able to have Santa give out to the members of the community that came through. January 9th was National Law Enforcement Day. Myself, Lieutenant Hargan, Lieutenant Dolan, decided that we wanted to give back to our staff. So we came in at 6 a.m. that morning with some griddles, and we cooked breakfast for the midnight squad and the day shift squad, and then we continued. We made food that were in crock pots, and then for 3 o'clock we fired up the griddles again and made sliders for the end of the 8 to 4 shift and the evening shift, and made sure that everybody had food throughout the day, it was actually a lot of fun to do with them, and they seemed to be.
You didn't come back for dinner?
What's that?
You didn't come back for dinner?
We left stuff in crock pots for them. That same evening, we participated in Cops and Cocoa with the Parks and Rec Department on the ice skating rink. A few of us actually got out and skated. That's always fun. We love doing the things in partnership with the Parks and Rec Department, go in line with what the mayor was saying before with all the different programs. And then on last Friday, January 10th, we participated in Too Good for Violence program graduation at Carter Elementary. Officer Galley's doing an amazing job with that. We'll have additional graduations coming up here in the next few weeks. Officer Galley will also start putting together our agenda for the summer for our youth police academies. Case reviews, I kind of went over everything with the shots fired incident stuff. We had one yesterday that I think is very interesting, and I don't really want to wait till next month to share it because it is pretty interesting. And it just shows how technology is such a vital role and collaboration is such a vital role in today's policing. So yesterday afternoon, we responded to Orange County Trust on Dolson Avenue. They had someone come into their lobby For those that have been there, the big building, come into the lobby, and then you have access to go upstairs, but they're all key doors, key fobs, codes. This gentleman came in, had a mask on, looked around a little bit, and popped that door like nothing. Easily popped the door and made his way through that building. Made his way up to the second floor, the third floor, and just started meandering around. Someone confronted him. He pretended like he was part of they were doing like shredding or something. Made him, like they asked him, he just agreed with it and went about his business. And it wasn't for a little while, they realized like he had no business being there. And then they called us. So we get there, we search the building, we don't see that anything was out of place, anything was left behind. Watch video, get some video image of this gentleman, again with his face covered. Realize that he was driving a box truck. We get some information on the box truck through the video. We're able to get a license plate, run the license plate, put it through our LPR systems and more large LPR systems. So we were able to determine that this license plate, and I say the license plate because it didn't belong on that truck, was tracked all over the Hudson Valley, Northeast, into New York City, Massachusetts, all over the place. So just that little bit of information, putting it into the license plate readers, was able to show us where this vehicle's been in the last couple of days and how it's been moved to different vehicles as well. So one of our detectives, Detective Bailey, who's involved, because everybody's like, something's not right here. With everything that's going on in the world in the last several weeks, we're heightened when we see stuff like this that has no explanation. Detective Bailey was like, oh my God, something came through the Intel Boltons not that long ago out of Kingston, something very similar. He researches, finds a Bolton, very, very similar pictures of the suspect, so on and so forth. So we're like, something's not right here. So they get a name from that Bolton of a possible suspect, run it, wanted all over the place, Poughkeepsie, Kingston, has a horrific criminal record, so on and so forth. So they put out a Bolton. They put together pictures of everything that occurred, our images from the bank, images of the vehicle, what we have, all that information, put it out through the Intel Center, the Crime Intel Center, which is the Hudson Valley region, and that'll go statewide as well, but we're more concerned with the Hudson Valley region. Someone paid attention to our Bolton. Town of Woodbury, or town of Monroe, Village of Monroe, sees this vehicle driving through. Oh my God, that's the vehicle. Middletown put the bolo out. They go to stop it, turns into a pursuit into Woodbury. Vehicle ends up crashing, ends up into a foot pursuit. The Woodbury police are able to take the guy into custody, get him all processed. He's DWI. He's got a truck full of stolen products. He was in our cells this morning. I don't know what happened to him throughout the day. But just how that technology all came together, from video to license plate readers to using shared services, within a matter of 4 hours, we have this person in our cells. And he just seems to be a career criminal that was just going to continue. It sounds like, from what I'm being told, he goes to businesses, cases them during the day, during business hours, and returns later in the evening and does his thing. So it worked out really good. I thought it was a good story to share, to show the collaboration, technology, and, people paying attention, I think is very, very important. So a great job, not just to our people, but to all the people that paid attention yesterday. We got a good win there. I did forward the commission some internal investigations and some updates to policy procedure. I don't know if the commission had the opportunity to review them. If you did, we could talk. If not, we extended time. You guys tell me. There were 3 internal investigations. 2 were property damage accidents involving our police officers, and 1 was a pursuit involving one of our members as well. So do you want to talk about them, or you want to table them?
Well, do you have recommendations to?
None of them had any violations of policy.
Okay.
They're concluded. I'm happy with the conclusions. I have no concerns with any of them.
Good with them.
Yeah, fine.
We're good with them.
Good.
Need a motion to accept?
So if the commission's good with them, I'd be looking for a motion to accept. I have a motion from Commissioner Mills. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Commissioner Sullivan, all in favor?
Aye.
Accept them
Aye.
as written. Thank you. And then it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Policy updates, again, as you see them, they're sometimes 1 or 2 words, just cleaning up language. If the commission would like to discuss any of them, I'm open to discussing.
Is there a typo I can share with you later?
Whichever you want, yeah.
Okay. So, procedure
304?
No, 300.4, you said, right?
300.
Oh, 300, okay, and 300.4, okay, gotcha.
I believe it's a typo, it says offer, I believe it should be officer.
Okay, I will offer, that would be one that would come up in like 2 months. I will have that corrected. You just saved, well, it'll have to come back through anyway, but.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for turning your mic on, too.
Any other comments, thoughts, discussion on any of the other policies? You guys are happy with the way the policies are coming out?
I think so.
All right, being no other discussion, if I gotta have a motion to accept the changes as written.
So move.
Second? All in favor?
Yes.
Appreciate it. That is all I have on my agenda, other than a few items that I would request that we could move into executive session for,
Okay.
unless the commission has anything that they would like to discuss with me. Members of the audience, Gloria, Happy New Year.
What number is that on Wickham?
One- 171. You gonna fix it for us?
All right, so motion to go into executive session?
I have a motion by Mayor,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rodriguez. We'll be moving into executive session at 5:08 PM for the purpose of discussing personnel matters.
Please be advised this ends the public portion of today's meeting. Thank you.